Hello YouTubers, Rob here. I hope you're all well. It's been a long time since I last spoke to you. I've obviously put on a few pounds, got a bit older and a little bit uglier. But apart from that, I'm well. It's obviously lockdown, it's September, we're going into winter into the UK. It's getting colder, the sun is starting to go down really early now. And those evening dog walks are starting to get darker and darker. So, and also the mornings, I noticed the mornings are getting darker. Everything's getting darker and colder and wetter. So, last year I set about trying to solve the problem of wet feet whilst walking my dog. And I bought a pair of shoes from Sports Direct and they were Caramores. They said Weather Light, something or other, Dominators. Crap, total crap. Never going back to buy those again. So I've invested a bit more this year and I've also got some nice gloves. I bought these last year and these have served me quite well. They're not perfect, but I'll go into exactly my tips for winter wear and what I've gone with for the 2020 into 2021 winter season. Saves you a little bit of looking around if you're trying to work out what to buy or where to focus your attentions. So gloves, first of all. These are Ejendels. It's a Swedish make. It says made in Sweden. Ejendels Tegera. Waterproofs. Okay, these are a year old now. As you can see, like they're getting a bit ratty. They are 100% waterproof. You can put your hand inside a bowl of water, I'm not going to do it, or a bucket of water, and you can pull them out and your hands will be dry, okay? And they've got some light fleece, it's not much. This is really just the start of the season, an autumnal glove for those kind of cold, wet, rainy, windy days, okay? One thing I'll say about them is they're not really sufficient for really cold temperatures, and if you've got a day where it's cold and it's wet, the rain's coming in and then the cold is blowing, all that heat is escaping, your hands might stay dry, but they're going to be freezing in these, okay? They're not up to the job because this outer layer saturates, as I said, it doesn't go through to your hand, but then as it's saturated and the wind blows, just all that heat evaporates away from you. So they're good to a point, certainly good for autumn and spring use. I would say not much more up for it than that. No particular thermal rating on those. There's no thin insulate. It's kind of just their in-house kind of fleece lining. There it is there. It's not particularly thick, but the benefit of these not being thick is that they're really good for dexterity. Okay, which means you can get your poo bags out and you can pick up the poo with the bag and you can hold it away from you. You don't want to smell that. You've only got two choices picking up poo, haven't you? It's either you breathe through your nose and smell it, or you breathe through your mouth and taste it. So best not to breathe, just down and bag it up, right? That's good for that. Straight out of your pocket, straight out of the poo bag, onto the poo bag, and job's good. Right, what we're talking about, poo bags, poos, smelling them, I don't know. Right, so when they give up the ghost, when you get into the colder temperatures now, it's really windy outside, it's really cold, and there's like ice in the air as well. Let's call it sleet, sleety rain, the whole works. You're going to need something warmer. Okay, the big brother of the Ejendels Tegeras are the Ejendels Tegera 297s. You can get these up to 600 grams, I think, of thin insulate. Not this particular model, the 297s. The 297s are 150 grams, but you can see there it's 3M in thin insulate and all that kind of jazz. 150 grams, that's good to about -6, okay? Obviously, when you add in the rain, they're saturated again on the outside, and you've got the wind, you know, they're not going to be holding out, but they are going to be your best bet. Certainly in the UK, we don't drop too much, and those days are fairly rare. I just say keep your hands in your pockets for those days. UK, we're getting thicker now, obviously. Thin insulate's pretty good. It's good at kind of having a lot of density in a small area, but I'm starting to lose the dexterity. The alternative is like a ski glove. Ski gloves come kind of like pre-clamped, so you get these like pre-bent fingers. These don't have these, they're just nice kind of normal work gloves. They're actually workwear for people who work in airports and outside doing dexterous tasks, semi-dexterous tasks in the wet, in the rain, all year round. So these are about 20 quid, these ones, and these you can get for around 12 quid. I would say get a couple of pairs, because if you're out in the morning and they're saturated, they're not going to dry by the afternoon. A couple of pairs of them, maybe 1 or 2 pairs of these. I don't know. I've just gone with one of each for the time being. We'll see how we fare. That's that. So shoes wise, okay, so we've got our kind of our hands now, they're nice dry and they're warm, and we move on to the shoes. So the shoes this year, this season's choice of these are very well rated. There's a certain website, I can't remember the blooming name of it now, but if you do your research and you look up these up, you'll see they get very good ratings. They are Adidas Terrex Swift R2s to give them their full title. They are Gore-Tex. It says Gore-Tex there. It also says Gore-Tex there. They are Gore-Tex. Okay, the outer skin does saturate, okay, but it's not much of it, so it does dry. These are still a bit damp from earlier. You can still see the grass is still wet on these, with real life fresh mud on them, as you can see. Continental rubber tyres on the bottom. The same stuff apparently that they make the tyres from. 5mm of grip, nice and grippy in dry conditions. One thing I will say about these, where we are, we've got like Victorian cobblestones that come down through the park, and there's tree sap, and they're kind of like a bit black and a bit mossy. These are slippery as hell on that kind of surface, but I have yet to find any shoes that aren't. And every dog walker I walk with in the mornings when we've got the dogs and we go down that area, obviously socially distancing, we kind of go on the side of the virgin, the grassy bit, because it's just a death trap, and these do not help. But apart from that, they are very good in dry weather, very good over rough ground, very good in like normal conditions. Just those Victorian smooth mossy pebbles that are the problem. Cobbles, not pebbles. So yeah, there's the Terrex. They're all right. They come in different colours. I went for this crazy kind of like neon-y colour, kind of black. There's different colour combos. The only thing I'd say, so Gore-Tex, obviously it does keep your feet dry, and these have so far held up. The morning dew is no bother for me now. You wake up in the morning after a day's or a night's of rain and the grass is really wet, or it's just morning dew, you know, like that's what gets dog walking shoes. Trainers just saturate straight through. There's my old dog walking trainers for summer. Absolutely knackered, these things. You know, these will go through in seconds. You're left with a big wet sock, whereas these don't. What you do end up with is a little bit of foot sweat just in the end where this kind of rubber is here. This is reinforced, obviously, for kicking things with, if you're climbing up boulders or whatever. Not as breathable at the front, and you will get a little bit of toe sweat. How much toe sweat depends on how sweaty your feet are. I didn't know I had sweaty feet, particularly, until I wore them. If you haven't got the budgets, they were 95 quid, okay, so they're not cheap, and they will last probably at most maybe 2-3 seasons before the Gore-Tex membrane finally gives way and starts letting the water in. So you've kind of got 3 seasons wear, most 2 probably, for 95 quid. They're not the cheapest. If you want really cheap, if you want a budget, and that's understandable in this kind of day and age, and these times, then you can just get compostable food caddy bag. It's not very classy. But it is cheap and it's not breathable, so it depends on how far you go, how much you stood around in the wet, and how sweaty your feet tend to get. But you can just pop them on your foot. I could kind of show you. You're going to picture this in your mind, right? Because you've got imagination, I trust. You're going to then stick it into your socks. No, you're not. You're going to put your foot in. You put the bag on your foot. You then put your foot in the bag. Okay, this is already a proving problem. Bag in foot, foot in bag. Foot in bag, bag in shoe. Okay, that's how it looks. Very, very cool and classy. And then you just tuck it into your crazy coloured socks like that. Don't have to have crazy coloured socks, but you know, it helps. And there you are, you're ready to go. You cannot escape the feeling that the foot is stood inside a plastic bag. But, you know, for some people that's absolutely fine. Foot sweat, depends on how much you get. You're not going to get any water ingress from the outside. You know, use the bags for a week or 2. Wait till they start decomposing. That's the whole idea of them. And then change them out. You know, not single use, please. That's just a waste of energy for the world. But that is a kind of a cheap way of keeping your foot dry if you just kind of stand around in the morning wet grass and you don't want to invest in proper walking shoes. You could wear wellies, couldn't you? What? And everyone's thinking, well, what about wellies? I hate wellies. I'm a welly hater. Some people are welly lovers, some people are welly haters. I hate wellies. They pull my socks down. It doesn't matter. I could even tie my socks around my head, and all I would do is find my head would slowly be moving towards the floor as I walk in the wellies, because wellies just seem to just pull my socks down and they pile in the bottom, and then it's just like walking on like rumpled socks, and it's not comfortable. I've never got on with them. I bought many pairs thinking that the next pair will be different, and they're never different, and I'm a welly hater. So that's it. I'm off to get Gore-Tex. I've got the Gore-Tex. So far so good, and we've had them about 3 weeks now. We've been out for some tough walks in all conditions and they've lasted okay. They're only kind of shoe size as well, and they're kind of like good enough to be almost like trainers, so you can kind of get away with them. They're not like kind of clumpy walking shoes. They've got a touch of street cred about them ish. Certainly better than your classic kind of brown numbers. But that's it. Those are my tips. I hope you're all keeping well. I'm talking for 10 minutes now. I'm going to stop. Probably bored you rigid. Apologies for that. you take care. By the way, if you've got better ideas, better gloves, better shoes, put them in the comments, because when these go through, I will be back in the market looking. Maybe I'll buy the same again, or maybe I'll go with your recommendations. But yeah, do share. Take care. Love to you all. Bye-bye.